Hey everybody, Argent here. So I'm working as you might have seen, my year-end reviews. So that being said, let's go into my top 10 best movies of 2017. 2017 could arguably be the greatest year for movies ever. It's, I think, the only year where I gave two movies a 10 out of 10. I gotta give Nolan credit. Three movies I'd give 10 out of 10 to are made by him, which is very rare that I give a movie 10 out of 10. I almost never do. There's probably only like, let me see, what movies would I give 10 out of 10 to? Terminator 2, The Matrix, Interstellar, The Dark Knight, the movie that's on this list, the other movie that's on this list, The Empire Strikes Back, maybe Revenge of the Sith, The Matrix. I forgot if I said The Matrix. There's not that many I'd give 10 out of 10 to. Shawshank Redemption. I could probably think of a couple others, but I've seen a lot of movies. So it's like less than one. It's 1% or less. So that being said, let's start out with two movies people might expect me to put on the list, but that didn't go on this list. So number one that didn't go on this list that people might expect is It. I did not like it. I did not enjoy it. I just found it really boring. Really, really, really boring. I actually almost board quit this movie. I was debating walking out. It's too long. I didn't find it really particularly scary. I found the characters kind of boring and flat. There was nothing that really kind of pulled me into this film. It's kind of hard for me to describe why I didn't like this movie. Exactly. It just didn't pull me in. I just didn't find it very interesting. It just kind of sucked. There's so much build up of the kids who are just not very interesting. It took like years. It felt like it took 2 hours to get into the actual plot. And when it got into the actual plot, it was like meh. And then at the end, there's just sequel bait for no reason. I understand that's how the short story works, but I just didn't like it. Next is Logan, which everybody liked except for me. I thought it was bad. I don't understand why people thought it was so good. I guess maybe nostalgia, maybe because it did something different. I just found it really too slow, boring, tonally weird. Just kind of okay, we got to finish this character off. What do we have? Okay, let's just do this. So, I don't know. I just thought it was bad. I didn't really like it very much. I don't really know what else to say about it. They just had to kill off the remaining because of reasons, I guess. Anyways, so let's get into the top 10 best movies. A Cure for Wellness is going to be my number 10 spot. It was a good movie. It was a good horror movie. It was very solid. It was a decent gothic horror movie. It stars Mia Goth. How can you not have a good horror movie if it stars Mia Goth? It just makes sense. So why did I like about it? It was a very kind of traditional horror film. You got the scary castle. You got the sense of isolation. You have the sense of going crazy. You have just weird kind of supernatural elements that may or may not be there. It's just an overall decently done gothic horror film that really has that Victorian charm to it that a lot of horror films are missing these days. Just very solid. So I would recommend the film. And yeah, I don't have much else to say about it. Number 9, I am a well-known fan of the Fast and the Furious episode. I love the Fast and the Furious movies, at least after the first one. Even Tokyo Drift is awful. Tokyo Drift was hilarious, though. But I love all of these films. They're retarded, but they're so much fun. You got like all the most masculine guys possible together, and you just have them be badasses. And that's basically the plot. You got The Rock and Vin Diesel fighting in a movie. That is awesome. You have, like, in this movie, there's a bunch of scenes of The Rock and Jason Statham just shit talking and just trash talking each other, which was a lot of fun. I don't know. It's hard to even really describe why I like these movies. I think the best way to put it is I like the whole kind of family thing, like Dom being the alpha male who protects what's his, and if people screw with his family, he goes and beats the crap out of them. I just love how unapologetically male these films are. It's just flying around the world, beating people up. There's hot women, fast cars, explosions, guns. It's a film that, like, makes you feel good about being a man. It's a film that, like, doesn't take itself too seriously and knows that it's like a testosterone filled, just it's just fun. It's just a fun kind of action adventure film series. I guess that's the best way to put it. It's something that, despite the very diverse cast, doesn't feel PC at all. It just feels like it just celebrates being a man. And that's pretty cool. So, next we have... Actually, this is kind of hard to pick. The next couple are very hard. I'd say Baby Driver is next. Now, in my review of this, I called this an all-around excellent film. This was back before we regrettably had to get rid of Kevin Spacey, so I guess it's a bit awkward now. But Baby Driver is just a film that I don't really think there was anything bad about it. I don't have any complaints. It was just kind of, in some ways, it was a fairly kind of innocent story. The romance plot in it is really cute. The music is excellent. The action scenes are very kind of creative. I haven't really seen... It's kind of an interesting mixture of realism to a degree that you don't have in Fast and the Furious, and just kind of over-the-top action. But the cast of characters were really interesting. What's his name? Don Draper is in this movie for some reason. What's his name puts in a good performance. Jamie Foxx plays Jamie Foxx. So he basically just plays himself. He does a good job playing himself, though. We have Elsa Gonzalez as the resident thought. And I don't know, it's a movie where everything worked, and it worked well. And it was an absolute treat watching this film. So I would highly recommend this. If you like action movies or just movies in general, it's a gem. Next we have Ghost in the Shell, which is a mixed bag of a film. I really liked it. I liked the music a lot. I liked the plot. I liked the action scenes. I think it was a very flawed movie. I think it was a film that had a lot of issues with it, but it was very visually creative. It alluded to some ideas. I don't think it really explored them well enough. But the biggest complaint was the whole racism and whitewashing thing. And obviously I don't care about that kind of stuff. But it did really play in with the plot well. Because it kind of... I'm not going to spoil it. But it dealt with the main character's sense of alienation and her identity issues. So I thought it was really well done. Overall, just an all-around good movie. I had a lot of fun watching it. It was an absolute visual treat. It really reminded me of a higher ranked film on this list. But yeah, overall, good science fiction movie. If you like science fiction, if you like action, etc. I never really watched the original. I quit the anime just because I didn't find it particularly interesting. But yeah, definitely give a thumbs up to Ghost in the Shell. Next we have Split, which the M. Night Shyamalan twist is the movie was good. Let's see, the answer is yes, it's gonna happen. Okay, that's great. So, the twist was this movie was really good. This was one of the most creative horror movies I've seen in a long time. Kind of horror thrillers. Firstly, the girl in it is super cutie. Anya Taylor-Joy. She's really cutie. South African Spanish. Okay, yeah, she does have a very interesting phenotype. But it's what's his name? James McAvoy does a really good job because his character is a serial killer with multiple personality disorder, and he does a really good job switching between them. It's just really intense. You don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of twists and turns throughout. The main character has a lot of kind of emotional depth. Like, she's not just kind of a scream queen or whatever. She has a lot of agency. She has a lot of attempts to deal with... A lot of attempts to kind of deal with... I'm trying to think of how to describe it. Her personal issues. But you just kind of have an interesting mix of stuff that led in towards the conclusion. And, like, there's a question throughout, is this movie supernatural? Is it not supernatural? You don't really know. Like, are people crazy? Is this an illusion? Etc. So overall, I just thought this was really, really good. It's a lot of fun. If you like horror movies, if you like thrillers, if you like kind of character pieces, it's really good. So it's a standalone sequel to Unbreakable, and there's going to be a third movie. It's confirmed there's going to be a sequel. I really liked Unbreakable. I like Split a lot. So the movie made a whole lot of money. So M. Night Shyamalan's back. Hopefully he'll make another good movie. Fingers crossed. So next we have The Disaster Artist. I mean, come on, this had to move it. This is a lot of fun. This movie, like, there's some movies you watch and you can just tell that people absolutely had a blast making it. Everybody in this movie just came across as they were just having, like, a ton of fun making this movie. Like, everybody was just, they were so into it. They were laughing, they were joking. To me, one of the best things you can do in a film to make it good is to have it so that it's very clear that the cast is enjoying themselves. Because if the cast isn't enjoying themselves, then that's a big problem. And you can tell. You can tell in movies where just people obviously are just there for a paycheck. They just phone it in. And in this movie, it's very clear that a lot of heart and a lot of love went into it. James Franco does such an amazing job as Tommy Wiseau. I actually thought it was Tommy Wiseau a couple times in the movie. He gets the mannerisms, he gets the speech, he gets the personality down. They changed some aspects of this for the sake of the film to try to like for dramatic purposes, but overall most of the stuff in this actually happened. In some ways they made Tommy Wiseau worse, in some ways they made him better, but yeah, I just I can't say enough good things about this movie. It's just a ton of fun. Just there's a ton of celebrity cameos. You can tell it's just a movie that it really kind of... It's a bit like the movie Ed Wood. It pays homage to Tommy Wiseau, and it pays kind of... it kind of celebrates him while also mocking him, and I think it has a good balance between the two. Kind of like the Ed Wood movie that Tim Burton did. So, Disaster Artist was really good. The only complaint, which a friend of mine pointed out, is Dave Franco isn't, like, great, doesn't look as good as Grave Sestero, who is the best looking guy ever. He's like an Aryan god, but you can't have everything. So next we have Mother, which I really liked. It had really bad, I think it had bad reviews, didn't it? It was kind of funny because it was a film that was supposed to be really left wing, but it wound up being kind of based. But it was just, I liked the absurdism, the surrealism. I liked how I had absolutely no idea where the film was going. It was just kind of a treat. Like, if you're going to watch this, don't read any spoilers. The ending completely caught me by surprise. It's utterly fascinating. So, yeah, I recommend this movie. Just go watch it. You might love it, you might hate it. it's the kind of movie where if people like the movie, I agree. If people hate the movie, I agree. Oh, sorry. As I was recording this, I just realized I should have put It Comes at Night on this list. I should have subbed out Fate of the Furious for this, but it is what it is. Nothing I can do, but I digress. So it was just an excellent horror movie. I think the issue was it was kind of under-ambitious to its kind of downfall, because I wasn't really sure what the message was they were going for in it. I did a review of this. I thought it was an overall a really good movie, and I enjoyed it. So, yeah, I don't really have a ton to say about that. But, no, it was a really good film. Okay, so Mother. So now we're down to the three best movies of the year. War for Planet of the Apes. Oh, come on, I had to make here. I love this franchise. Rise of the Planet of Apes was great. Dawn of the Planet of Apes was better. This one's even better. Andy Serkis gives an absolutely amazing performance as Caesar. He just has the body language so down. He just has this dominant, dignified way of moving about that just screams alpha chimp. So it's really interesting. The themes are interesting. Woody Harrelson does like a career, the performance of his career, which I just thought was amazing. Only problem with this film is the title's misleading because it's not about a war between the apes and the humans. It's a civil war between humans. But the cinematography is great. The characters are great. It's kind of a big love letter to the previous two movies. There's a lot of kind of fun allusions to the other Planet of the Apes movies. But these are a lot better than the other ones because the other ones are kind of lame, aside from the first one. But overall, I recommend this for anybody who likes movies. Literally, like, everything about this film is good. So I don't really know, like, what else to say about this movie other than it's just watch this film and enjoy it. So this is really difficult to pick between the top two. It's a gnat swing between the two of them. The two films that are the top two, I gave both 10 out of 10 to. They're two of the best movies I've ever seen. Dunkirk is the best war movie ever made. I'm going to come out and say it. Absolutely incredible movie. Hans Zimmer outdid himself with the soundtrack. The whole thing is a race against time. The whole thing, it's so just tense. Like, are they going to get out? Are they not going to get out? And obviously, you know the history. Most of them get out. But despite most of them not getting out, but you don't know if the particular characters are going to get out or not. So there's still a lot of tension in the movie. There's still a lot of just kind of interesting stuff. No, sorry. We don't know if the individuals are going to get out or not. So that's kind of an ongoing thing. You have all these different stories that kind of like Inception interact together, and they're kind of told out of order, but in a way that makes a lot of sense. I like that no German is shown on screen, I think until the very end, but generally speaking they aren't. The whole idea is to create this sense of dread that it's closing in on them. The idea isn't really to demonize or lionize one side. It's to tell an amazing story about kind of the harsh realities of war, about what these guys went through, what they suffered, and it's a very apolitical movie, it's a very apolitical movie that I appreciate. And there's like a ticking clock in the background for the whole film, which is brilliant, and it only stops at the end. So it's the narrative is really solid. The characters do a good job. It's a good ensemble movie. Ensemble movies are difficult to do properly. But this was a truly great movie. Best war movie of all time. This movie I originally thought was going to be unnecessary, but it makes most other war movies unnecessary. It's just, I don't know what else to say about it. So now we have it, the creme de la creme. The best film of not only of this year, but of any year. My Little Pony, the movie. I just I don't know. I can't even describe how good this film is. We got Tempest Shadow, we got the Storm King, we got the humanoid parrot. I can't even pretend. It was a mediocre movie. I did actually see it just for a joke. It was okay. It was just like every single. It was mediocre. So just put that in there as a little joke, just a little funny. It didn't make a lot of money. I think it would have made more cash, but whatever. So now we have the actual best movie. Is Tara Strong even? Oh, okay. She gets like bottom billing. That's weird. So the actual best movie of the year is Blade Runner. And it was very hard to choose between the top two on this list. So Blade Runner 2049 was just incredible. I didn't even know like how to react to it. When I was watching it and my review was titled Wow, Just Wow, I was in a state of shock. The special effects in this film were absolutely fantastical. The music was also amazing. Once again, Hans Zimmer. And it raised a lot of interesting questions. And the performances were good. Harrison Ford actually thought that he actually acted like he cared for once. And we have everyone's favorite based QT Spanish Cuban GF, which helped the movie a lot. But no, it really does a good job of showing off like Ryan Gosling's alienation from society as a replicant. It was good to see Deckard back in action after the events of the previous movies. They dealt with Sean Young not being in the film again. I thought they did a really good job with that. They just had a really good cast of characters that I thought they did a really good job with. So I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to explain like why exactly this was my favorite pick. I think you have to watch it. If you didn't see it in theaters, it's too bad. It's really a movie that I think benefits a lot for our... So yeah, overall, just an excellent film. Sorry I didn't go into too much detail about any of these, but it's 10 movies to deal with in 20 minutes, so... You do what you have to do. So I'd recommend seeing any of the movies on this list, but especially the top 3. They're all just really good films in general. Also Baby Driver, which I think appeals to just about everybody, regardless of what kind of movies you normally watch. So those are the best movies of the year. I hope you enjoyed this, and more top lists to come.